Hey everyone, it is your boy Jack here, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. You know, the film that everybody was sort of hoping would be better than it was? Yeah, that one. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about some pros, some cons of the film, as well. I'm going to be talking about whether or not this is a suitable ending for the Rise of for the Skywalker saga. With all that being said, let's just dive into it. So, Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, it has some really great positives to it. Like the sound design, I think it's really well done, and like the sound design, the sound effects. And also the score for the film are probably one of the best moments of the film because they're subtly there, but they add such great detail to the film. And it's no surprise and no shock that they got nominated for Oscar nominations and stuff. And I have to admit, these three things, like the sound effects, sound design, and like the visuals and all that stuff, in the score, like, I do agree with that. And like, I know it's typical for a Star Wars movie to get those kinds of nominations, but I think with this film, it was really well done. So yeah, but I also felt like with this film, something that was really good about it was also the sort of Kylo Ren and Rey sort of like lightsaber fight between the two locations of Kijimi, aka the military planet, and the Star Destroyer that Rey was on. And like, it sort of led to that clip that was in the trailer where like both Kylo and Rey like slice the Darth Vader statue and everything with his helmet on top. And I really did like that scene. It got me a bit giddy because, like, to be 100% honest, I'm like, ooh, this is like a badass scene. The writing's actually on fleek here. I'm liking where the two characters are going with this. And I do like the fact that, like, okay, you get these two characters' perspectives and like how they're sort of interconnected in that aspect. But there are also some negatives to this film. And honey, like, there are a lot of them. Like, there were so many that I was thinking about just doing a whole video about, like, a whole, like, review about what I didn't like about this film. Because, like, there is a lot of points. Like, I was going to go through the whole movie, like, watch it, boom, 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 take down some notes, and then just, like, be the angry Star Wars nerd that I'm not really, and then just go through it. And like, I decided not to do that to spread the negativity, but I compromised on this, aka the credits that are rolling on screen right now, as I will read some of the honorable mentioned stuff that pissed me off. So, firstly, there is the X-Men style force healing. I'm sorry, but that's just weird and that doesn't feel very Star Warsy. Or the Finn and Rose character arcs. Where were those? As well, the Kylo Ren scene death fake out. That felt really cheap. I'm sorry, but it did, because like, you can't just wipe away the evil. But lastly but not least, probably the one that I've sort of realized now is sort of made clear and everything, is the fact that The Last Jedi really failed to set up The Rise of Skywalker. And don't get me wrong, I think I'm one of those people that sort of start to realize The Rise of Skywalker is a good film. Especially, after you're done watching this video, go watch The Force Awakens, then right after, start watching The Last Jedi. And I'll tell you, it's really, really good if you watch them back to back. Like, I did that like the 2 days before I was gonna go see the movie, see The Rise of Skywalker, and like, that was really good. I really, really like that because like, you get a better perspective of both films overall. Now, back to my main point. The Last Jedi failed to set up The Rise of Skywalker. And what I mean is the fact that if you look at the first two movies, they really do feel interconnected between each other. They sort of fit into each other like a puzzle piece. And what I'm trying to say with that is the fact that if you look at the film, you have Supreme Leader Snoke in both movies, him showing a bit more of an arc, a bit more of a character. Same thing with like a lot of the other characters, like Captain Phasma, she's in that. And I feel like they were really setting up some really great opportunities and confrontations with Supreme Leader Snoke versus Rey, or even versus some of the, like, either General Leia or Luke or something like that. And then also as well, like, sort of setting up Captain Phasma as a subplot villain for Finn and Rose. And I think the thing with like the original sort of idea for the trilogy was, instead of having Palpatine being brought into the third movie, having sort of Supreme Leader Snoke as the main villain, or the main person slash villain in The Rise of Skywalker, and having like The Last Jedi being showing him as like the big bad, the big threat and everything. And then having Captain Phasma as sort of like the villain archetype for Finn and Rose. And I think that's really where this whole trilogy sort of failed, in that aspect of having this simple story and having a huge potential for a simple story throughout 3 movies that could have that could allow a better ending. Yet I think The Last Jedi really didn't consider the fact that this movie was ending. Like, this isn't the ending movie. This is a middle movie. And it really failed to really set up some really good stepping stones in that aspect. But that's just like some of my thoughts. That's like a negative there. I hope you get what I'm saying, but yeah. Either way. So my last point I want to bring up here is whether or not this movie is a suitable ending for the Skywalker saga. And after thinking about it and stuff, I think the problem with this movie is that originally this movie was meant to be a Rey-centric movie, sort of showing her conclusion. But because of this being the ending of the Skywalker saga, it's Rey's movie, like a Rey-centric movie, with everybody else sort of around it. And I think that's really what brings this movie down, because it plagues it with like fan service moments like Lando arriving, or the humor, or like the or other characters' arcs sort of interfering with her arc. And everything. And I don't think that's just like a problem with like Rey, or like problem with this movie, but I think that sort of ties into the big problem with this movie, which is the fact that like the problem with this movie overall is that you're trying to make a suitable ending for this trilogy, but at the same time you're also trying to make a suitable ending for this saga. And I think all of the main problems in this film can be tied back to one of those 2 reasons. But I think probably one of the bigger benefits of this ending and of this movie overall is the fact of having J.J. Abrams on this film. And I say all of this because J.J. Abrams is really good at understanding and reinventing nostalgia into a current age, and understanding how to write characters that were from a different time into this time and age, and reinventing them in a way that sort of reflects this modern age of cinema, or modern age of viewers and everything. And I think that's what really helps bring this film at least together in order to make it a bit more of a suitable ending. So when it comes to the Skywalker saga and whether or not it is a suitable ending, it's not a perfect movie in any sense of the way, but I think it is a suitable ending that I'm comfortable with looking back at, and sort of, I'm definitely going to rewatch this movie over the years and everything. And I think it's something I'm comfortable with. Yes, it has problems, but I'm comfortable with the fact of this is how this movie, or this is how this saga ended, because it did sort of conclude a lot of the key, like sort of legend characters, or a lot of the sort of more key characters' storylines. Leaving out sort of Finn and Rey, or Finn and Rose, and Poe to a certain extent. But yeah, that's the conclusion to my thoughts on Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. And I'd love to hear yours down below. I'd love to hear your positive or negative moments about the film. I'd also love to hear whether or not you think this is a suitable ending for this Skywalker saga. I'll leave a pinned comment down below. Feel free to leave your thoughts down below on whether or not it is the suitable ending for the Skywalker saga there. And as always, feel free to do the typical YouTube stuff like the liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And check out the comic of the week down below. That will be the War of the Realms comic and everything. I've really liked and enjoyed this comic, and I'm excited to sort of talk about it and everything. But yeah, besides that, hope to see you next week. Bye!